Why don't you get a different color for each day?
That's what we got.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been a momentous 24 hours here in Congress, a legislative one-two punch that the American people rarely see. A little while ago, the House voted to approve the largest investment to lowering costs, increasing manufacturing, investing in science, and helping fix our semiconductor crisis. The CHIPS and Science Bill, after 3 long years, now goes to the President's desk. And last night, Senator Manchin and I announced an agreement on a reconciliation package, the Inflation Reduction Act, that will finally deliver on some of the biggest challenges facing the American people: lowering costs, fighting inflation, fighting climate change, and making health care more affordable in this country. Again, the past 24 hours have been a legislative one-two punch that Americans rarely see and will benefit them immensely. A bill to supercharge American industry, and a bill to fight inflation and mark a turning point in our fight against climate change. You know, for years, decades even, many in Washington have promised to address some of the biggest challenges facing our nation, only to ultimately fail to deliver. With the Inflation Reduction Act of 2022, this Senate Democratic majority will finally take on Big Pharma and lower prescription drug prices. This Senate Democratic majority will tackle the climate crisis with urgency and vigor. This Senate Democratic majority will ensure the wealthiest corporations and individuals pay a fairer share in taxes. And this Democratic majority will reduce the deficit. By a wide margin, this legislation will be the greatest pro-climate legislation that Congress has ever passed. This legislation fights the climate crisis with the urgency that the situation demands and puts the U.S. on a path to reduce by roughly 40% emissions by 2030. That's a very strong goal, and this legislation puts us on the path to do it, all the while creating new good-paying jobs in both the near and long term. This morning, I met with my Democratic colleagues to discuss this bill and discuss the path to passing it in the next week in the Senate. I expect the remaining work with the parliamentarian will be completed in the coming days, and the Senate will vote on this transformative legislation next week. Look, we now have been in the longest 50-50 Senate ever. Someone's reminding me of that. Yes, Brian, it was the longest ever. Shots. Every one of my Democratic senators has my phone number, and I talk to them directly. That's how you keep a caucus that runs from Sanders to Manchin together. Conversation, not email, talking. Anyway, we've been the longest 50-50 Senate in the history of America. It's been a wild ride. There have been a lot of ups and downs. When we were in the minority for many years before this Congress, we often talked as a caucus about what we would do if we got the majority back. We talked about expanding and improving the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, about passing a large infrastructure bill, about finally doing something about gun safety and mental health, about bringing manufacturing jobs back home and stopping them from going to China, and competing with countries around the world successfully. But at the top of the list, we regularly talked about two things that the party and the country have been fighting to do for over a decade: letting Medicare negotiate for prescription drugs, and fighting the existential threat that climate change brings to our globe. We now have the opportunity to get these two hugely important priorities passed before the August recess, and I believe we will get it done. Yes?
Senator was in activity at your caucus meeting this morning, and she has in the past opposed closing the carried interest loophole. Are you certain you can get her on board, and how?
Look, the members are reviewing the text. It's a long text, 700 pages. I'm giving everyone time to review the text. In the meantime, we're continuing with the bird bath, and we expect to move forward next week. Yes, Manu.
Well, just to follow up on that, why, given how important she is in the caucus, why do you not include her in the negotiations? And would you drop that carried interest provision to get her support?
Members are reviewing the text, and we'll all be talking shortly.
So given that, what's your timeline on this then?
We hope to go to finish with the parliamentarian. It's going to be hard to do that because it's a shortened timeline with a large bill, and move to the Senate floor next week. Yes.
How concerned are you about COVID taking out one of your members again? Senator Durbin this morning, you have Carper and Senator Smith, and just
It's always a worry. It's made life much harder in a 50-50 Senate, but we're going to have to persevere. Yes. Turner.
The reconciliation bill doesn't include a provision addressing insulin prices. Is there a
Yes, we will be adding things on insulin to the reconciliation proposal. Yes.
During the vote of Rama, will you allow your members to offer amendments to add things in, or are you worried that would jeopardize the bill? And likewise, would you allow?
Look, we're going to work out how to pass this bill successfully going through Vote-A-Rama, and I think we'll have the cooperation of all 50 of the members.
Leader Schumer, as you know, during the July recess, Leader McConnell said if you guys continue to work on the reconciliation package, Republicans would block the CHIPS bill. On July 14th, the talks with Manchin fell apart on climate and taxes. CHIPS bill passed yesterday, and then a few hours later, you announced this deal. Was this dumb luck, or are you the master of the Senate? You choreographed this beautifully. What happened?
Good try with flattery. Look, because of the length of the parliamentary bird bath, we wanted to get things done as quickly as possible. Senator Manchin came to visit me on the 18th. In other words, the talks broke up on Thursday, the 14th. The whole nation was aware of it over the weekend, and Manchin requested a meeting with me on the 18th, and he said, can we work together and try and put together a bill? I said, as long as we finish it in August, we're not waiting for September or August 10th or whatever else. And so we worked hard on the bill. It took a long time, and we wanted to move as quickly as possible. We got the JCT score Tuesday night, and we went public Wednesday. Yes.
Can I ask, how important were the electric vehicle tax credits to you in terms of the Manchin deal, and what percentage of that 40% reduction of emissions comes from more electric vehicles?
Look, electric vehicles are something that's been very, very sought after by many in our caucus. I proposed the Clean Cars in America Act several years ago, as you may remember, which was the core of this. Senator Manchin had some real disagreements about it, and so we tried to come to a compromise. It's not everything I would want, but there's a provision in the bill. It is a very small percentage of the 40%. Yes.
On top of that, the legislation also includes lease sales for drilling in the Gulf of Mexico and Alaska. How do you make the argument that this is a pro-climate piece of legislation when there are lease sales?
Look, Senator Manchin wanted certain things in the bill that the vast majority in our caucus didn't want. But we had a North Star, 40% reduction in carbon. The BBB bill had 45% reduction. So getting to 40 was a remarkable achievement, and that includes the things we didn't like that Manchin put in the bill. And on the leasing provisions, it's the existing leases that Biden had already announced. There's, a move to push him to get him to actually do them. None of them been announced, and only in areas where there's already been some offshore drilling by the Cook Inlet in Alaska and Gulf of Mexico, no new places. So sticking to the 40% is what really counts, the amount of carbon that goes into the atmosphere, much as I would have personally never put these provisions in the bill, but we had to get it done, and we need 50 votes. Yes?
Part of this agreement is to do something on permitting in the future. What is that going to look like? And is the idea to attach that to a CR or appropriate?
Yeah, so this was the other thing, other than leasing, that Senator Manchin asked for. We came together on a provision. It has a few good things in it. There's some kinds of permitting that get in the way of clean energy as well, things that I wouldn't like. We have come to an agreement between Senator Manchin, President Biden, Speaker Pelosi, and myself that we would try to get that provision in the CR.
Where was President Biden on this? I mean, Manchin said on the radio today
He was not, it was the whole negotiations, both before the 14th and 18th and after, were just he and me. Okay? Yes, last one.
Can you share a little bit more about your conversations with House progressives and any concerns about that they or House moderates, Democratic moderates, could potentially stymie this bill?
Well, I talked to the CPC today. Congresswoman Jayapal was very laudatory of the agreement, as was just about everybody on the phone. Speaker Pelosi said it best. She said, when you look at this agreement, you don't look at what's not in it. All of us would have wanted more in it. But you look at what's in it, and what's in it is dramatic, significant, and will move America forward a great deal. DeBonis, you're the last one.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. Your constituents pay a lot of state and local tax. They're not gonna get relief on their federal return under this deal. What do you say to them, and what do you say to the other members who represent?
You saw Manchin, in his statement, he's opposed to it. Got to get a bill done. I would love to do it, but he's opposed. Okay?
You're gonna get this done.
9/11 health funding in there, which there are responders in New York.
Again, we will get this. There's ample opportunity to get this in the CR and other must-pass bills, NDAA. Manchin didn't want it in this bill, but there's going to be opportunity, and we're going to get it done. Thank you, everybody. That is a truly relevant question. We are going to give our Republican friends another opportunity to vote on this Monday night. We have, this, I don't know where they came up with this. We offered to me, standing in the way, the ability to do an amendment at 60 votes, just like the bill is a 60-vote bill. He insisted, at least in conversations with some others, saying, no, if you don't put it in the bill, which will kill the bill, I'm not going to be for it. But we stand by the offer. I stand by the offer. We will give Senator Toomey a right to bring his amendment to the floor and try to get the votes for it. Thank you.
At 60, to be clear.
At 60.